Millionaire forgot her purse on a train. The single mom who returned it got the shock of her life. The 6:47 a.m. commuter train from Westchester to Grand Central Station hummed along its familiar route as Sarah Mitchell clutched her worn canvas bag closer to her chest. At 32, she looked older than her years, the kind of exhaustion that comes from working double shifts at the diner while raising an 8-year-old daughter alone. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her uniform polo shirt bore the faded logo of Mel's All-Day Diner. Sarah's eyes were heavy as she stared out the window at the Hudson River rushing past. She'd been up until 2 a.m. helping her daughter Emma with a school project about the solar system, cutting out construction paper planets at their small kitchen table in their cramped apartment in Mount Vernon. The rent was due in 3 days, and even with her tips from last night, she was still $200 short. "Next stop, 125th Street, announced the conductor's voice over the intercom as the train slowed. Sarah noticed something wedged between the seat cushions across the eyeless, sleek black leather purse that looked expensive, the kind she'd only seen in store windows on Fifth Avenue. She glanced around the nearly empty car. The businessman who'd been sitting there had gotten off at the previous stop, his newspaper still folded on the seat. Sarah's first instinct was to ignore it. She had enough problems without getting involved in someone else's drama. But as the train lurched forward, the purse shifted, and she caught a glimpse of something inside a small silver frame, with a photo of an elderly woman smiling warmly at the camera. "Damn it," Sarah muttered under her breath. She couldn't just leave it there. She reached across the aisle and picked up the purse. It was heavier than expected, made of buttery soft leather that probably cost more than Sarah made in a month. The initials VH were embossed in gold near the clasp. Sarah opened it carefully, feeling like she was invading someone's privacy. Inside, she found a wallet containing several credit cards, all bearing the name Victoria Holloway. There was also a substantial amount of cash. Sarah's breath caught as she counted at least $1,500 in crisp bills. Her hands trembled slightly as she held more money than she'd seen in one place in years, but it was the small details that made her chest tighten. A pharmacy receipt for heart medication, a grocery list written in careful cursive handwriting, and that silver-framed photo of the elderly woman, probably the owner's mother, Sarah thought, noting the family resemblance. "Grand Central, final stop," the conductor called out. Sarah quickly closed the purse and stood up, her mind racing. She could easily take the cash and throw the purse in a trash can. Who would know? But as she looked at the prescription bottle rattling inside, she imagined some elderly woman panicking about her lost heart medication, unable to afford a replacement. The morning rush hour chaos of Grand Central Station enveloped her as she stepped off the train. Commuters pushed past her in every direction, everyone focused on their own destinations. Sarah stood there for a moment, the purse heavy in her hands, watching the stream of people in expensive suits heading to jobs that probably paid more in a week than she made in a month. She pulled out her phone, a cracked iPhone 8 that Emma had accidentally dropped last month, and Googled Victoria Holloway, New York. The search results made her jaw drop. Victoria Holloway wasn't just wealthy, she was a reclusive millionaire, heir to the Holloway textile fortune. The most recent photo Sarah could find was from 3 years ago at a charity gala, showing a woman in her mid-50s with silver hair and kind eyes, wearing a simple black dress that probably cost more than Sarah's car. The articles painted a picture of a woman who'd inherited her family's business empire, but had largely stepped away from public life after her mother's death 2 years ago. The Holloway Foundation, which Victoria ran, had donated millions to children's hospitals and educational programs, but Victoria herself rarely made public appearances anymore. Sarah's phone buzzed with a text from Emma. "Mom, I forgot my lunch money again." "Sorry." Sarah looked at the cash in the purse, then at her daughter's message. $200 would solve her rent problem and buy Emma new school shoes. No one would ever know, but as she stood there in the middle of Grand Central, surrounded by the morning rush, Sarah thought about the woman in the photo alone, probably worried sick about her lost purse, her medication, her mother's picture. Sarah knew what it felt like to lose something precious, to feel helpless and alone. She made her decision. 20 minutes later, Sarah stood outside the gleaming glass tower on the Upper East Side that housed the Holloway Foundation offices. The building's lobby was all marble and modern art, making Sarah acutely aware of her diner uniform and scuffed sneakers. The security guard, a middle-aged black man with kind eyes, looked up from his desk. "I'm here to see Victoria Holloway," Sarah said, her voice sounding smaller than she intended. "I found her purse on the train this morning." The guard's eyebrows rose in surprise. "Ma'am, Ms. Holloway doesn't typically see visitors without an appointment. Are you sure you have the right person?" Sarah opened the purse and showed him the ID. "Victoria Holloway, same address as this building. I just want to return it to her." The guard studied Sarah's face for a long moment, then picked up his phone. "Let me call upstairs. What's your name?" "Sarah Mitchell." As the guard spoke quietly into the phone, Sarah's palms grew sweaty. She was already going to be late for her shift at the diner, and Mr. Peterson had already warned her about punctuality. But something about this felt important, like she was exactly where she needed to be. The guard hung up and looked at her with surprise. "Ma'am, Ms. Holloway will see you now. Take the elevator to the 28th floor. Miss Chun will meet you there." Sarah's heart pounded as the elevator climbed higher than she'd ever been in a building. When the doors opened, she was greeted by an Asian woman in her 30s wearing a crisp navy suit. "Ms. Mitchell, I'm Linda Chun, Ms. Holloway's assistant. She's been looking for that purse everywhere. Please follow me." They walked down a hallway lined with beautiful artwork, past offices with floor-to-ceiling windows offering stunning views of Central Park. Sarah felt completely out of place, but Linda's warm smile put her slightly at ease. "Ms. Holloway is in her office," Linda said, stopping at a set of oak doors. "She's been quite worried. That purse has some very important things in it." Linda knocked softly and opened the door. "Victoria, Ms. Mitchell is here." The office was elegant but not ostentatious, with comfortable furniture and family photos scattered around. Behind a mahogany desk sat Victoria Holloway, and Sarah was struck by how different she looked from the polished photos online. Her silver hair was pulled back in a simple bun, and she wore a casual cream-colored sweater. She looked tired, vulnerable, and when she saw Sarah holding the purse, her entire face lit up with relief. "Oh, thank God," Victoria said, standing up quickly. "I've been sick with worry. I called the train station, the police. I even had Linda post on social media, which I hate doing." Sarah stepped forward and placed the purse on the desk. "I found it on the 6:47 train from Westchester. I checked the ID to see who it belonged to." Victoria opened the purse and immediately reached for the silver frame, holding it against her chest. "This is my mother," she said softly. "I carry it everywhere. I don't know what I would have done if I'd lost it." "I figured it was someone important," Sarah said. "That's why I had to bring it back." Victoria looked up at her, and Sarah saw tears in her eyes. "You don't understand. This purse. It has over $1,500 in cash, my heart medication, my mother's photo. Most people would have just taken the money and thrown the rest away. I couldn't do that," Sarah said simply. "It wouldn't be right." Victoria studied her face for a long moment. "Linda, could you give us a few minutes alone?" After Linda left, Victoria gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Please sit. I'd like to know more about the woman who saved my sanity today." Sarah sat down, still clutching her own worn bag. "There's not much to tell. I work at a diner in Mount Vernon. I was just heading to work when I saw your purse." "You're Going to be late for work because of me, Victoria said, glancing at the clock. It's okay. My boss isn't happy about it, but... Sarah shrugged. What's your boss's name? Mr. Peterson. He owns Mel's All-Day Diner. Victoria made a note on her desk pad. I'll call him and explain. Make sure you don't get in trouble for doing such a kind thing. You don't have to do that. I want to. Victoria leaned forward. Sarah, can I ask you something? When you saw all that cash, didn't you even think about keeping it? Sarah looked down at her hands. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I'm behind on rent. My daughter needs new school shoes, and I work 2 jobs just to barely make ends meet. But when I saw your mother's photo, I couldn't do it. I kept thinking about how scared you must be, losing something so precious. Victoria was quiet for a long moment. You have a daughter? Emma, she's 8. Sarah's face softened when she talked about her daughter. She's everything to me. I'm raising her on my own. That must be incredibly difficult. It is, but she's worth it. She's smart, funny, kind. She's going to do amazing things someday. Victoria stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city below. Sarah, I want to give you a reward for returning my purse. No, that's not necessary. I didn't do it for money. I know you didn't. That's exactly why. I want to help. Victoria turned back to her. Let me ask you something. If you could change one thing about your life right now, what would it be? Sarah thought about it. I'd want to stop worrying about money all the time. I'd want to be able to give Emma the things she needs without having to choose between rent and groceries. I'd want to not feel like I'm failing her every day. You're not failing her. You're raising her to be honest and kind, which is more valuable than anything money can buy. Victoria sat back down. But Sarah, what if I told you that I could offer you a job? A real job with benefits that would pay you enough to stop worrying about rent? Sarah's heart skipped. What kind of job? I need someone to help me with the foundation. Someone who understands what it's like to struggle, who knows what families really need. The position pays $75,000 a year, plus health insurance. And vacation time. Sarah felt dizzy. I don't have a college degree. I don't know anything about running a foundation. I can teach you about the foundation, but I can't teach someone to have the kind of character you showed today. That's something you either have or you don't. Sarah stared at her, unable to believe what she was hearing. Are you serious? Dead serious, but I have one condition. Sarah's heart sank. What? I want to meet Emma first. If I'm going to trust you with helping me decide how to spend millions of dollars on helping families, I want to see the person who inspired such incredible integrity in you. Tears began to roll down Sarah's cheeks. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. And Sarah? Victoria opened her desk drawer and pulled out an envelope. This is $5,000. Consider it a thank you gift for returning my purse. Use it to catch up on your bills. Buy Emma those shoes, whatever you need. Sarah shook her head. I can't accept that much money. You can and you will. Because in about 2 weeks, I'm hoping you'll be starting a new job and won't need to worry about money anymore. Victoria smiled. Besides, do you know how much I spent on private investigators today trying to find this purse? $5,000 is nothing compared to what you've saved me in stress and worry. As Sarah left the building, envelope in hand, she felt like she was walking in a dream. She called Mr. Peterson from the lobby. Peterson, this is Sarah. I know I'm late, but Sarah, I just got the strangest call from some lady named Victoria Holloway. She said you helped her this morning and that I should give you the day off with pay. She also said she's sending the diner a $1,000 catering order for next week. What the hell did you do? Sarah looked up at the gleaming tower, wondering if Victoria was watching from her office window. I just did the right thing, Mr. Peterson. I just did the right thing. 2 weeks later, Sarah stood in front of her bathroom mirror, adjusting the collar of her new navy blue blazer. She'd bought it at Macy's with some of Victoria's gift money, along with 2 other professional outfits and a pair of black pumps that didn't hurt her feet. For the first time in years, she looked like she belonged in an office building. "Mom, you look so fancy." Emma bounced into the bathroom, still in her pajamas. Her curly blonde hair was a mess, and she had toothpaste on her chin, but she was beaming with pride. "Thanks, sweetheart. Are you excited about meeting Ms. Holloway today?" Emma nodded enthusiastically. "Is she really going to have a driver pick us up?" That's what she said. "And remember what we talked about. Best behavior, say please, and thank you, and don't ask how much things cost," Emma recited dutifully. Sarah laughed and kissed her daughter's forehead. "That's my girl. Now go get dressed. We don't want to be late for the most important meeting of our lives." An hour later, they stood outside their apartment building as a black town car pulled up to the curb. Emma's eyes went wide as a uniformed driver got out and opened the door for them. "Good morning, Ms. Mitchell. I'm James. Ms. Holloway sent me to pick you up." As they rode through the city, Emma pressed her face to the window, marveling at the tall buildings and busy streets. "Mom, is this really happening? Are we really going to meet a millionaire?" "We are, baby. But remember, she's just a person like us. She puts her pants on one leg at a time." "Rich people wear pants?" Sarah laughed. "Yes, Emma. Rich people wear pants." The Holloway Foundation offices looked different to Sarah this time. Instead of feeling intimidated, she felt a sense of possibility. Linda Chun met them in the lobby, wearing a warm smile and a bright red dress. "You must be Emma," Linda said, crouching down to Emma's level. "I'm Linda. Ms. Holloway is so excited to meet you." Emma looked up at her mother uncertainly, then back at Linda. "Are you really going to work with my mom? I hope so." "Your mom seems pretty amazing." "She is. She works really hard, and she makes the best pancakes in the world." Linda winked at Sarah. "I'll have to get that recipe." They rode the elevator up to the 28th floor, but instead of going to Victoria's office, Linda led them to a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. The table was set with elegant china and silver, and there was a spread of pastries, fresh fruit, and what looked like gourmet hot chocolate. "Wow," Emma whispered, her eyes wide. Victoria entered a few minutes later, and Sarah was struck again by how approachable she seemed. She was wearing jeans and a cashmere sweater, her silver hair loose around her shoulders. "Emma," Victoria said warmly, "I'm so happy to meet you. Your mother is a very special person." Emma looked up at her shyly. "She is. She takes care of me all by herself. I can tell she does a wonderful job. You're very polite and well-behaved." "Thank you, ma'am." Victoria's eyes met Sarah's over Emma's head, and Sarah saw approval there. "Emma, would you like some hot chocolate? I had the kitchen make it special, with real whipped cream and marshmallows." As Emma settled into her chair with her hot chocolate, Victoria sat across from Sarah. "She's beautiful. You should be very proud." "I am. She's my whole world. It shows." "Sarah, I've been thinking about our conversation 2 weeks ago, and I want to be completely honest with you about this job offer." Sarah's heart sank. "You've changed your mind." "Not at all. But I want to make sure you understand what I'm offering. The Holloway Foundation gives away about $10 million a year to various causes. My job, and hopefully yours, is to decide where that money goes. It's a huge responsibility. I understand. Do you? Because I'm not just offering you a job, Sarah. I'm offering you the chance to help change people's lives. To be the person who decides whether a struggling family gets help with their rent, or whether a child gets a scholarship to college, or whether a single mother gets job training so she can support her family." Sarah felt the weight of what Victoria was saying. "Why me? You could hire someone with an MBA, someone who knows about finance and business. Because those people have never been where you are. They've never had to choose between paying rent and buying their child new shoes. They've never worked 2 jobs just to barely make ends meet. I need someone who understands what it's really like to struggle, because those are the people we're trying to help. Emma looked up from her hot chocolate. Are you going to help other kids like me? Victoria turned to her with a gentle smile. We're going to try, sweetheart. We want to help families who are having a hard time, just like you and your mom have been. That's really nice, Emma said solemnly. My mom always says we should help people when we can. Your mom is very wise. Victoria looked back at Sarah. I have a proposal for you. I want you to spend the next month shadowing me, learning about the foundation, meeting the people we help. At the end of the month, if you think this is something you want to do, the job is yours. And if I don't think I can do it, then you walk away with no hard feelings and I'll help you find something else. But Sarah, I think you're going to surprise yourself. I think you're going to discover that you have talents you never knew you had. Sarah thought about the last 2 weeks, how she'd been able to pay her rent on time, how she'd bought Emma new clothes and school supplies without having to check her bank balance first. The freedom from that constant financial anxiety had been life-changing. What would I be doing exactly? You'd be my assistant at first, helping me review grant applications, visiting the families and organizations we're considering helping. Eventually, I'd like you to take over the Direct Family Assistance Program. We get hundreds of letters every month from families in crisis, and right now I can only help a fraction of them. You want me to decide who gets help. I want you to help me decide. Because you know what it's like to write one of those letters, to beg for help when you're desperate. Sarah had never written to a charity for help. Her pride had always stopped her, but she knew Victoria was right. She understood desperation in a way that someone who'd never struggled couldn't. Mom, Emma said quietly, does this mean we don't have to worry about money anymore? Sarah looked at her daughter, then at Victoria. Emma, nothing in life is guaranteed. But this is a chance for us to have a better life and to help other people have better lives too. I think you should do it, Emma said seriously. You're really good at helping people. Victoria laughed. I think Emma just made the decision for you. She usually does, Sarah said with a smile. Okay, I'll do it. I'll try the job for a month. Excellent. Linda will get you set up with everything you need: computer, phone, email access. We'll start Monday morning. As they talked about logistics, Emma wandered over to the windows, looking out at the park. Ms. Holloway, do you have kids? Victoria's smile faltered slightly. No, sweetheart. I never had children. That's sad. You seem like you'd be a good mom. Thank you, Emma. That's very kind of you to say. Sarah caught the wistfulness in Victoria's voice and made a mental note to ask about it later. She was beginning to understand that despite her wealth, Victoria might be lonely. Emma, come sit down. Ms. Holloway and I need to finish talking about grown-up things. As Emma returned to her hot chocolate, Victoria leaned forward. Sarah, I need to tell you something. When I offered you this job, it wasn't just because you returned my purse. It was because of what you said about Emma, how you wanted to stop worrying about money so you could stop feeling like you were failing her. I remember. My mother raised me alone too. My father left when I was 5, and my mother worked 3 jobs to keep us afloat. She never remarried, never had time for herself. She built the business that made our family wealthy, but she died before she could really enjoy it. Sarah felt a lump in her throat. I'm sorry. The thing is, I've been trying to honor her memory by giving away the money she worked so hard to earn, but I've been doing it from a distance, writing checks to organizations and hoping the money gets to the right people. I want to do more than that. I want to really help families like yours, like mine was. You want to make a real difference. Exactly. And I think you can help me do that. Because you know what it's like to be a single mother struggling to make ends meet. You know what families really need. Emma looked up again. Are you lonely? Ms. Holloway? Victoria was quiet for a moment. Sometimes, sweetheart. Sometimes I am. You could come have dinner with us sometime. My mom makes really good spaghetti." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "I would love that, Emma. I really would." 3 hours later, as James drove them home, Emma fell asleep in the car, her head on Sarah's shoulder. Sarah stroked her daughter's hair and thought about everything that had happened in the past 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, she'd been a struggling single mother, working double shifts at a diner and barely making ends meet. Now she was about to start a job that would not only change her life, but give her the opportunity to help other families in similar situations. "Ms. Mitchell," James's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Ms. Holloway wanted me to give you this." He handed her an envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. "Sarah, thank you for returning my purse. But more importantly, thank you for reminding me that there are still honest, kind people in the world. I'm looking forward to working with you and getting to know Emma better. I have a feeling this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Also, I took the liberty of calling your landlord and paying your rent for the next 6 months. Consider it a signing bonus. You shouldn't have to worry about money while you're learning your new job. With gratitude, Victoria P.S. Emma's invitation to dinner is the best offer I've had in years. How does Sunday sound?" Sarah felt tears streaming down her face. She looked out the window at the city passing by, then down at her sleeping daughter. For the first time in years, she felt hopeful about the future. Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister in Ohio. "How was the meeting? Are you really going to work for a millionaire?" Sarah typed back, "It's not about working for a millionaire. It's about working with someone who wants to help families like ours. And I think we're going to help a lot of people." As the car pulled up to their apartment building, Sarah gently shook Emma awake. "We're home, baby." Emma rubbed her eyes. "Mom, do you think Ms. Holloway is going to be our friend?" "I think she already is, sweetheart. I think she already is." 6 months later, Sarah stood in the same conference room where she'd first had hot chocolate with Victoria and Emma. But now the table was covered with grant applications, budget reports, and thank you letters from families they'd helped. She wore a tailored suit and carried herself with the confidence of someone who'd found her calling. "Sarah, what do you think about the Johnson family's application?" Victoria asked, looking up from her laptop. Sarah picked up the file. "Single mother, 2 kids, about to be evicted. The 8-year-old daughter has asthma and needs an inhaler she can't afford. The mother works full-time but doesn't make enough to cover rent and medical expenses." She looked up at Victoria. 6 months ago, this could have been me. And now? Now I can help make sure it doesn't happen to someone else. Sarah smiled. "I think we should approve the full amount first. Month's rent, security deposit, and 3 months of medical coverage. It'll give her time to find a better job or a second income stream." "Approved." Victoria made a note in the file. "You know, Sarah, you've become quite good at this. I had a good teacher." "No, you had the instincts all along. I just helped you. Trust them." Emma burst through the conference room door, followed by Linda. "Mom, Miss Victoria, I got an A on my science project." "That's wonderful, sweetheart," Sarah said, hugging her daughter. "What was it about?" "Solar systems. Remember, we worked on it together that night before you found Miss Victoria's purse." Victoria smiled. "It seems like that was a lifetime ago." "It was," Sarah said, looking around the room at the work they'd accomplished together. "It was the night my life changed forever." "Our lives," Victoria corrected gently. "Our lives changed forever." Emma climbed onto Victoria's lap, something that had become natural over the past 6 months. "Miss Victoria, are you still lonely?" Victoria hugged her close. "Not anymore, sweetheart. Not anymore." As Sarah watched Victoria and Emma together, she realized that the act of returning a lost purse had done more than change her own life. It had brought together 3 people who needed each other, creating a family that none of them had expected. But all of them treasured. Sometimes, Sarah thought, The smallest acts of kindness create the biggest changes. And sometimes, when you're brave enough to do the right thing, the universe rewards you in ways you never imagined possible. End of story.
Thank you for watching this story unfold with us here on M&A The Story Unfolds. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new tale. We'd love to know where you're watching. Leave a comment below and tell us what part of the world you're joining us from. Your support means everything. See you in the next story.